All right, how's it going today, everybody? Hope you're having a great day so far. It's Thursday already. What the week is just, for me, has flown by super, super quick. Well, look, I want to do something different here. I want to just kind of keep it fun. I always start the week off with the more sort of in-depth videos and live things, and then we sort of have some fun as we get to the end of the week. Tomorrow is Friday. Tomorrow is my birthday, but I'll be working. You know, I'll be here. We'll do something special. And also, we have something going on with our customers here. They're teasing me. They want me to eat the Reese's. I'm trying to eat healthy. Those are the big ones, too, the big cup ones. Look, I'm trying to be healthy, you know. I'm trying to just get back in shape, you know, do my thing. So I'm not going to eat the Reese's. That's sort of a test. Let's see how long it stays there. If it disappears one day, it's going to be because I caved, and hopefully that's not the case. But hey, what we're going to talk about today is how investing $100 would have worked out, right? So we do lots of studies. I've got a lot of videos actually where I'll do, you know, $50 a week, $25 a week, $28 a week, and some of them I actually just kind of give raw numbers, and we just say, hey, just, you know, pen and paper, if you were to do this for the next 30 years, what would happen? And we don't really include inflation in some of them, and some of them I do include inflation. It's just to give you different ideas. And, you know, a great example would be some of our customers want us to project numbers for them with a high inflation, something that, you know, like 3.9% is the highest that, you know, one of our customers wants us to use. So that's okay. We can sort of overestimate, but then some of our customers say just use the average, or I don't know. And in truth, we're really just kind of guessing. We can only use history. So it got me thinking, could we use history and go back and see what if you started with $100 a month in an account back in like 1970? Found a couple studies. I'm actually going to use some charts from some of the studies that I showed, so I'm not taking credit for it. I have to give credit to Brian Stoffel, who actually put together some of the charts we're going to use today. We're going to test out some of the new features on our software here, so stick with us. I'll start with a quote, right? I had to look it up because I can't remember exactly how it went, but apparently, Albert Einstein said that the greatest force in the universe was compound interest. Given enough time and tended to regularly, even the smallest amounts can accumulate to make life-changing differences. And I maybe don't say it so elegantly, but I say the same thing to our customers. Start small. I don't care. I'm not going to hound you if you start putting $20 a week in there. Every other advisor on the planet would be like, oh, God, what is this guy doing? Put some real money in there. No, we have to start somewhere. I love working with people that are just getting started or within a couple years of getting started, because I want to motivate those people, right? So they can put a little bit in, it's fine. According to Albert Einstein, it all adds up over time. Now, most studies use 10% as a raw number. Now, before you comment on the video here, the reason that most people use 10% as a raw number for a calculation is, you know, what to expect, is because that's what the market's return on average. That's the S&P 500's average return. The problem is the value of the dollar, right? So sometimes we might say, well, look, if you make 10%, this is what you'll, you know, end up with. But the value of the dollar is depreciating by some amount. So we do have to factor that in. And that's why most people will say, let's say an average of 7% returns. That can be after inflation. So now you know those two numbers. If someone tells you, well, with an average of 10% return, you would have this, they're not factoring in inflation. That's okay. It's just a raw number. If they tell you the average return is 7%, that's an inflation-adjusted number, and they're also including back any dividends that may go into that. So a little lesson of the day there. If you happen to see any studies online or someone else gives you some advice, that's probably what they're doing. Now, what I wanted to do was go back and say, all right, $100 a month. Let's go very bare bones here. Let's assume $100 a month from 1970 onward to what we're doing now. Here's the problem. If you go back to 1970, $100 was not worth $100 today, right? $100 was worth $660 in 1970. So it's already kind of a tough study, but let's do it. I'm going to show the chart here that Mr. Brian Stoffel put together. Bear with me for a second. We do it like this. Nope, we do it like this. Ah! All right. So here's the breakdown. If you put away $100 a month in 1970, and inflation adjusted $100 a month, from 1970, you'd end up with $180,000 by the end of last year. So this goes up to December of 2018. Now, is $180,000 enough for retirement? Like, think about it. All that time passed, you put $100 a month in. You never changed anything, right? That's a fixed amount. And by the way, I want to point out something. Look at this chart. Notice how it basically just goes up. So we tell our customers all the time, don't be scared of the markets falling. Invest, invest, invest. When the markets fall, you get excited, right? You get excited that the markets are at a discount. Look at the 2000, the mark there right around the year 2000. How do I go over here? I can't go in it. The year 2000, and then of course around the 2008, those were some pretty steep pullbacks. They don't affect you in the long run. So what I really love about this chart is how it doesn't affect you in the long run. There were some scary times, admittedly, and had you started investing in one of those scary times, it probably would have been tough to stick with it. But look at that, in the long run, you do just fine. At $100 a month, you'd ended up with $180,000 in this calculation here. So does that matter? I mean, is that enough? Does that get you there? What do you guys think? Leave a comment below about the $180,000. Now, take it a step further here. Let's think about this for a second. $180,000 right now. Remember, because the study's going back to 1970 and we're coming up to 2017. So the idea would be you retired as of Christmas last year. Could you live on that? 180,000 is not going to cut it, right? So what we did is we said, okay, 4% withdrawal rate. You know, that's kind of like what everybody teaches out there. You withdraw 4%, that's the safe withdrawal rate, the Trinity rule, everything if you follow that sort of thing. I think that's a little different these days, but that's another video. 4% withdrawal rate, that would give you $7,200 a year. Now, that's not enough to live off of, right? $7,200 a year, but almost nobody that I work with or has called me or wants to work with us lives on only one savings account. Most people have a 401k. They are getting some kind of Social Security, maybe a pension. It could be part-time work that you're going to do in retirement. So really, if you did $100 a month, it's debatable, but let's say $7,200 a year. Social Security, let's just make it easy and say $13,000 a year. That's maybe on the low end right now. That puts you at $20,000 a year. If you had a 401k or a pension that paid a little something, maybe that gets you up there a little more. And if you did some part-time work, $20,000 a year, you could almost make that happen. Now, it's not going to be great, okay? That's not certainly a goal to shoot for. You're going to end up living here in Florida, and you don't want to live in Florida when you retire. It's it's hot. It's hot. You don't want to live down here. So that was the idea. Now, we know that it's the whole idea of this is the power of the compound interest, okay? So what I wanted to do, and I know I've got this chart here as well. I'm going to try to pull this one in for you. I'm doing this on the fly. Bear with me. So what I wanted to show, I did a video about this on how eventually when you contribute to your retirement, the contributions are less than the growth, okay? Make sense? So you start by putting in some money. You're not really going to gain a lot. You put in $100, maybe you gain $1 at some point. Obviously, you haven't made more than $100. But if you keep going, there is a point where you end up growing more than you're contributing. And that was what we did. We did a study on how 13.4 years was the actual point in time for that study where you would cross over. And every dollar you put in, you were growing by $1 or more. Really cool video if you get a chance to check that out. It's on our site. But here's the chart I want to show. Hey, it worked. Who's getting smooth with this? Here's the chart that I wanted to show. So the stock market returns about 7% a year. If you did the $100 a month in 1970, $100 a month, then it would have been worth $84 more by the end of the year. Okay? If you didn't touch it, then by the next year you'd be around 90. Okay? So the idea is that you're growing, obviously you know compound interest, you're growing because the amount that you've gained has also gained interest as well, or is also growing. And that is about as horrible as I can stumble over every one of my words because I'm thinking of this chart here. Look at this chart carefully. The blue line, the blue shaded area, those are your contributions, okay? And what this guy did is he put together this chart to show your contributions, you're doing $100 a month. So the contributions are just going in, going in, going in, going in. The growth eventually takes off. That's why they call it compound interest, because it turns into like a ramp. It's not linear. So actually on my $28 a week gives you $80,000 a year in retirement, I'm surprised by the number of comments that I got from people that said, hey, idiot, $80,000 times 20 years is 1.6 million. It is not 665,000. Well, of course I know that. I think everybody that watches that knows that, but some people think that investing is a linear model, and those people got it wrong. I try to be nice, but at some point, it's like, come on, man. So on this chart, notice where the break starts. Right around year 10 and a half to year 11, that's where the growth in the account starts beating your contributions. And look, I can't tell you, I can't force this enough. You have to make it to that point. There are so many people that take money out early, you're not going to get to that point. That point is so important because that's where not only do you see your account start growing more and more rapidly, think of the confidence. Think of how good you feel about, well, I put in a little bit of money and I made more than I put in. That's where you really start to dive into this. That's where I get excited for people. You can't take money out early, so be very, very careful about doing that. It's only going to delay how long it takes before your account grows more than you contribute. I hope you understand that. Leave me a comment. Let me know that you do understand that. I got to stop you. Anybody that wants to take money out early, I hear the arguments. I hear people say, I don't have the time to invest. I don't have the money to invest. Well, then I'd rather help you get your dough straight. I'd rather work with you to figure out where in your budget can make this happen so that you can contribute. And I don't care, if you don't use us, that's cool. Keep us in mind, but of course, you just got to get the dough straight. So we're going to do a budgeting class this week, 2 days actually. We're almost there. So we're going to be doing a budgeting class where we're actually going to talk about the big ticket items in your budget. I really, really, really get passionate about this. I am probably going to talk for a long time, but I'm going to be very, very specific exactly how much you should spend on a house, on a car, renting a house, for your retirement, for your Roth IRA, the exact numbers. I'm going to make it really, really simple for you, so be sure to check that out if you get a moment. I'm going to leave you with two things. This study goes backwards, okay? So I get the whole idea of inflation, we're working backwards. Notice how the study only does $100 a month over the life of the investment. Now, in 1970, that would have been a large commitment, but it would have tapered off over time. It really shows the importance of starting with something and adding a little bit at a time. You don't have to add a lot. We have a lot of customers that just do $20 a week. That's it. They put $20 a week religiously and they do an awesome job. I would never try to talk them into doing more. But there's going to come a point, and every morning I wake up and I see the new report that we get from people that went from $20 a week to $21 a week. That is impressive because it shows that you get it, right? So you have to increase your contributions over time. I don't care if it's $1. Little by little, it all adds up. Mr. Einstein said that it should. And the second thing I want to leave you with is, in order for this to work, no matter what video you watch by me, by anybody else, in order for your investments to grow and for you to put more money in and feel good about it, you got to have your dough straight. I know it's kind of a weird way, it's sort of a fun way to say it, but if you don't have your personal budget straight and your money between you and your spouse, whatever it is, it really makes it that much harder. It really becomes a battle. So before you even come to me, if you've been watching and you're thinking, maybe I'll give this guy a shot, before you even do any of that, please be sure that you have your budget straight. Make sure you know what you're doing with your money. Really, really, really important there. So it'll make it a lot easier. It'll make it a lot more fun. Anyways, geeked out, man. Yeah, I love it. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you watching. If you're watching live, we're going to wrap it up from here. And stay tuned for the Dough Show. We're actually going to record that tonight. I might try to just do it live. We might just try to turn everything back on and see if my brother can hook up the podcast. I've got an interesting one tonight. We're going to bring back the Dough Show, and we're bringing back a segment called Sad But True. And just for fun, what it is I read off two stories to my brother. They both have to do with either a stock, a public company, a CEO, whatever it may be. I read off two stories. One of them is completely made up and completely false. The other one is unfortunately very sad or very wrong, but true. And so he has to try to guess. Maybe we'll do it live and see if people can guess which one is sad but true. But also the Dough Show, we cover just anything interesting. We're going to talk about a few interesting things that happened in the world, new, whether there's plane tickets or just anything financial that touches your money that's actually kind of interesting. Very laid back. Grab a drink with us. Come hang out. We'll try to do it live. I think we'll try to do it live today for sure. It'll be around 6 or so Eastern time if you want to play along. I appreciate every one of you guys being around here watching, participating with us, and we will talk to you soon. See, the problem with budgeting is all of the financial gurus out there, all of the blogs just give you general advice, get you all pumped up to go budget, and then you get going and you have no idea where to start. Let's talk about the big ticket items that can financially ruin you if you don't know how much to spend and how much to budget on them. Emergency funds, retirement savings, this is a class about specifics. We are not going to motivate you. I am not going to inspire you. I'm going to educate you on exactly what you need to do with your budget, with these big ticket items and the big portions of your budget, so that you and your family never stress about budgeting your money again. If you sign up before June 8th, then we're giving you lifetime access to Nest Egg, our personal financial portal where you can get your dough straight. Everything in your financial life, including your budget, can be seen on this portal. And best of all, we do not sell your information like Mint or some of the other apps. It is 100% yours, customizable to you. Again, if you want to be motivated, you want to be inspired, then this is not the class for you. If you want details and specifics about what to do the second you finish with this class, well, then I hope to see you there.